We're so lucky in Kingston to have so many artists and studios and art galleries. Today I have with me well-known Kingston artist Susanne Langlois. How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good, I'm great. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you.
So tell me about your work. Tell me what you do.
Well, I'm an artist. I'm a painter mostly, and I paint oil on canvas or acrylic on canvas. So fairly traditional medium. I actually do kind of 3 different styles and series that I'm working on. I do landscapes with the wind turbines. That's something I'm kind of known for around here, I think. And then I do still life and also abstracts.
So for sure your wind turbines are kind of famous. Like I see them in people's houses all the time. But we have also in our office, we have 2 of your irises and they're just absolutely gorgeous, but totally different too.
Yeah.
So have you always stuck to a certain theme?
I really started out doing still life and flowers and fruit and things like that. That's what I was really drawn to, so to speak, is, you know, representing something real life, but usually making it like quite a large version.
Right.
And it was later on that I got into, after I moved back here, I got into doing the wind turbines because I thought it was just such an amazing subject.
So when you become an artist, did you start when you were a child and then decide that that's what you wanted to do as a career path, or
no.
Tell me your story.
Okay. Yeah, it was a little while in between. I actually, well, I went to school for English literature. I got a bachelor, undergrad degree. And then while I was at school, one of my really close friends and I started a clothing business. So we just started from, the ground up, a clothing business, and then we decided, well, let's try to pursue this. And, our degrees weren't exactly having these careers that were beckoning. So we tried that, and it went really well. We had a store in Toronto for like over 10 years, and we designed and manufactured everything. So it was very intense.
Yes.
All the while, I always did painting and art as a hobby and did it on the side. And I, as a kid, I was really into that. I think I was just never, I'm not really sure why, but I never had the encouragement. Maybe I wasn't, showing outstanding talent or anything, but, no one was like tapping me on the shoulder saying, hey, you should try art school. But, I'm really glad in the end that I did that route because it was really educational and fun.
So you ran a clothing store in Toronto and then went to art school?
No, I never went to art school. I'm essentially self-taught. There were always courses to take as electives, but nothing that I ended with a degree in fine art. And so once basically I moved back to Kingston from Toronto, and all of this happened sort of all around the same time, but we closed our store, and I just decided to give it a go with the art because I loved it so much, and it was something that was mobile, and I really enjoy being my own boss. And, and I was having young kids at the time, and so it just, it was a great starting point.
So how do you market your art?
I use social media, and that's huge. And
so Instagram
and Facebook. I also do have an email list, but I'm not at the point yet where I'm doing a newsletter blast or anything like that. I think I keep going back and forth between needing the work / inventory and then promoting it. So,
Right, so you have to
build it up if you're going to try to sell it, right? So sometimes I put the brakes on announcing things if I don't have a lot of work for sale. So, but social media is amazing. As soon as something's posted, I usually get some kind of feedback.
Right.
I think that's pretty normal.
Well, I was on your website and I was seeing these paintings that I liked, and I would click on it, and then I thought, wait, that's sold. Red dot, right? That's sold. That's sold.
I need to do
that's
some
sold.
updating. Yeah.
Well, so you don't ever have you ever had a store or any type of display that's in person?
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, a lot of gallery shows, and in Kingston, things have changed over the years. I've lived back here for 17 years, so I was represented for a while by the Kingston Glass Gallery, and that was great.
Oh, right. On Queen Street there?
Yeah, on Queen Street. But I've done a lot of different shows that, like last year I did one at Gallery Raymond for Art After Dark, and I usually have some sort of presence, including the type of thing like at your office. You know,
Right.
I have a few places like that around town where that always leads to some kind of word of mouth. And
Well, the number of times clients come in and say, oh, well, now we've got your business card underneath the painting so that when people ask,
yeah.
because they're stunning pieces.
Oh, thank you.
Right? So what sort of vision do you have for the future? Where do you see yourself going with your business?
That's a very good question, and I usually do find that intimidating. I mean, some of it is kind of intangible, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing. You know, it gets sort of to a point where, of course, I think about sales, but also what the feeling is going to be like. You know, I'd really like to travel with my work, so whether that means doing artist residencies or, you know,
wow.
finding galleries in other cities or other countries would be a dream. And accessing different markets, like the market's great here, but at a certain points it will be more saturated than others. And
it seems like a hard go, like you're selling one painting at a time.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of things you can do now with, like, prints, for instance. I've never gotten into doing that.
Right.
And, you know, there are other ways, whether doing something like, I do a lot of commissions. I mean, that's still one piece at a time, which it slows down everything else if I'm busy with commissions.
Right.
But
how long does it take to paint a painting?
Well, it depends. I mean, I think Picasso famously said, like, what would I be, 53 and, you know, 53 years and 3 months or something like that to paint that. I mean, once I finally sit down, it depends. It could take a few hours, or I could work on something for weeks if I'm going back and.
Right,
you know.
like every piece of art, right?
Yeah,
that's the same.
Yeah, exactly. The inspiration might strike and it pours out. Or, yeah.
So if people wanted to see your paintings, where should they go?
Well, my website, for starters, and that also leads to my Instagram and Facebook. So my website is www.susannelanglois.com.
Okay.
And then in person around town, I don't have a show at the moment, but I have something coming up, a group show in Picton at Melt Gallery.
Okay.
That'll be up soon, but all of that will be on my website and social media if people want the announcements.
Great. Well, thank you so much. So if you want to see Susanne Langlois' art, start with her website. But then she's also all over Kingston. You see her all kinds of places. So check out her art. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.